right, let's get into the story of a real pioneer. We're talking about Anand Deshpande, a name that's tied to a huge shift in India's entire technology landscape. You see, this is a story about how he didn't just build a company, he helped forge a whole new identity for an industry. And that really brings us to the core question here, doesn't it? It's a big one. How can just one person with one vision completely change the direction of a whole country's tech sector? To figure that out, well, we've got to go right back to the beginning. So, our story kicks off in a pretty small city in Maharashtra, and it's going to take us all the way to the heart of American academia. This is where the groundwork for everything was laid. You know, this path, it's a pretty classic one for many of India's brightest minds back then. A childhood in a place like Akola, then hitting the absolute pinnacle of Indian engineering at IIT Kharagpur, and then, of course, the journey to America for a PhD. He was building that perfect foundation for a top-tier technologist. But here's the thing. His PhD research wasn't just some abstract theory for a grade. That really deep dive he took into database systems, it was basically the seed, the literal blueprint for the company he was going to create one day. A company built on a deep understanding of how software actually works. So with this world-class education and this incredible technical foundation, he's perfectly set up for an amazing career, right? But what he did next, well, that was the decision that would define absolutely everything. This is where the story gets really interesting. Seriously, just picture this for a second. You finish your PhD and you land this dream job at HP Labs in California. You're at the absolute cutting edge of tech. You've got a stable, high-paying career ahead of you. That was his reality. And here is the twist. Instead of just climbing that corporate ladder in Silicon Valley, he makes this incredibly bold, kind of counterintuitive choice. In 1990, he packs his bags and heads back to India, where the tech scene looked completely different back then. He wanted to build something new. And get this, he took this massive risk when he was just 28 years old. 28! I mean, at an age when most of us are just trying to figure out our lives, Anand Deshpande was founding a company, Persistent Systems, all based on a vision that most people just couldn't see yet. So, what was his big vision? What made his company so radically different? This is really the core of his innovation, the idea that was going to reshape a whole industry. To really get the shift he created, you have to remember what Indian IT was like in the 90s. It was all about services. It was like being a contractor. A client gives you blueprints and you build it, simple. Deshpande's vision was completely different. He didn't want to just be the contractor. He wanted to be a co-architect, developing new technology with clients, not just for them. This whole model, it has a name, Outsourced Product Development, or OPD. And the crucial difference here is the relationship. You're not just taking orders. You're a co-creator, a true partner in innovation from the very beginning to the very end. And he was the guy who pioneered this model in India. So, the big question is, did this radical new idea actually work? Well, let's take a look at how this vision exploded into a global technology powerhouse. The answer is a huge, resounding yes. Today, Persistent Systems isn't some little startup anymore. We're talking about a massive global company with over 20,000 professionals. Just let that number sink in for a moment. That's the scale we're dealing with. And that incredible growth led to a truly global footprint. Today, Persistent operates in more than 18 countries, and it's a major publicly listed company in India. That bold idea from 1990, it's now a completely established global institution. And they have not been standing still. The company is constantly innovating, focusing on the most important technologies of our time. You know, the whole shebang, AI, cloud, big data, IoT. It really shows how that original product-focused DNA is still what drives them forward into totally new frontiers. But Deshpande's impact, it goes so far beyond just the success of his own company. His legacy is literally woven into the fabric of the entire Indian tech ecosystem. And this right here is the heart of his legacy. He didn't just build one successful company. By proving that this new model could work, he helped lay down a new track for India's whole tech industry, helping it shift from being seen as just a service provider to a true product innovation powerhouse. He's also been a tireless champion for the entire industry, not just his own business. Through his leadership in huge organizations like NASSCOM and CII, and his personal commitment to mentoring young people and startups, he's always been working to lift the whole ecosystem up. And his work also goes into philanthropy. Through the Persistent Foundation, he's a huge supporter of education, healthcare, and sparking that same entrepreneurial spirit in young people that drove him all those years ago. You see, it's about building a better future, not just better software. And so, that leaves us with one final thought. Anand Deshpande's story is this powerful blueprint for how vision and courage can totally reshape an industry. He showed everyone what was possible. So the question now is, who's next? Who's going to be inspired by this journey to build the next great Made in India innovation for the world?